This is the General Forms training video for the National FFA Living to Serve Data Collection and Reporting System. The General Forms from the main navigation, we're going to go over some of them in detail and some of them just as kind of a highlight, because we'll address more important pieces of each of them in later trainings. The Grant Details form is where new grants are entered for the given year. This form you'll see a lot of through these training videos as we go through. Consistently throughout the forms, you will see blue arrows adjacent to various fields. Those arrows will move you from option to option within those fields, and a X will exit you out of that form. The global data form captures information that is year specific and used for in many parts of reporting. National contact information, additional outcome report notes, curriculum resources descriptions, and additional impact descriptions are all entered here and placed in specific areas of the outcome reports that are available. The volunteer rate for the given year is also entered on this form. To add a new year, if you click add a new year, it will duplicate the current. It doesn't look like anything happened, but it duplicates the current record, and you must change the year to the next year that you're going to enter report grants for, because it cannot have in its system multiple records with the same year. Once that's done, you're free to change any national contact information. This is done by copying instead of giving you a blank record, because oftentimes this contact information will stay the same. At this point, you can also change the volunteer rate to whatever the Department of Labor is issuing for that fiscal year. You're welcome to leave the descriptions in there that were from the previous year, or you can make them blank. You can delete that information so as not to inadvertently report incorrect information in current reporting. The state details form allows you to enter contact information for each state that is receiving grants. Again, you only have to do this once for each state. By default, only the states that had received grants in the past are in the list. To add a new state, just navigate to the end and enter in new information. The state abbreviation is just like a chapter number, but with all zeros, and then enter the state. You must also select a region for that state, the region that state belongs to. If you want to put in contact information, you can. It's not required. Functionality for this was not built out. Similarly, if you would like to track grants that are being awarded to that state, you can track that down here by putting in the year of the grant and the details if states are receiving administrative grants. Again, there's no reporting that was built out from this. It's just a tracking feature if you would like to use it. If the Living to Serve contact and the FFA contact are the same, you can check the same as Living to Serve contact above the FFA contact piece, and the query that pulls that will duplicate the information. Again, there's no reporting based on that. Again, the X will close that form. The chapter details form is very much the same as the state form, but for chapters. You can navigate from chapter to chapter. They are listed alphabetically to confirm that any given chapter that is receiving a grant already is in the system. If they are a new chapter, again, navigate to the end by clicking the right bar arrow button, and then click the right arrow again and then it'll give you a blank record where you can put in the chapter number and the chapter name. And then select the chapter state. Again, this is driven from that state list. So if you have new chapters in new states, make sure to add the state first. This box here will show historical information about chapter grants, if they've received them in the past, and so on and so forth. All of this other contact information should be filled in so that the pre-population features of the Excel document will work properly. We're not going to spend time doing that right now, though. The impact measures form. This form allows you to identify standardized quantitative impact measures that are common across multiple chapters. Once a measure has been added to this list, do not delete it and do not change it substantially. Because the database archives historical information and it is referential, if you change the measure name here, historical information collected will be misrepresented. To add a new impact measure, you can simply type it in the next open line, and that will create a new record. Start all impact measures with a unit of measure. You'll see here in the list number of community members, number of educational workshop, pounds of produce. That way, when a raw number is put in front of it, it makes logical sense as to what that means, because those raw numbers is what is captured by the Excel document. Partner types, similarly to the quantitative impact measures, you don't want to change any of these that are here because that'll misrepresent archival information that you have in the database. The purpose of this is to kind of standardize the way partners are described by chapters. If you find that you need additional granularity or less granularity than you had before, you can take a partner type out of the system for the purposes of the Excel document and allowing chapters to select it by unchecking the active box. So if an extension agent, service, or office is no longer at the level of granularity that you would like for describing partners, you can uncheck that and it won't show up for the chapters to be able to select that in their description of partners. They'll have to pick something else that's a broader term for that partner. But it won't disrupt the historical information that's stored in the database. If you find that you need more granularity than the options that are currently listed, again, you can add a new category for partners at the bottom just by typing it in. If you type in a new one, make sure to also indicate whether it's a governmental or non-governmental entity so that it can be reported properly on the National Outcomes Report.